What's up everyone? Welcome to tonight's Late Night Agenda. I'm your host Craig. As always, this is your show. You let me know the topics you want to talk about. Everybody is very welcome here on the Anfield Agenda YouTube channel. Doesn't matter what club you're a part of, you're more than welcome here. First and foremost, we are a football fan channel. There's a lot to get through, guys. Look, we could talk about the shitty Thursday night football that none of us really give a fuck about, thank God. In this day and age that Liverpool don't have to worry about Thursday night football. I can hear some of you saying, don't be too fucking cocky yet, big man. We could be playing that very, very soon. Not at all. I'm fully aware of it, but I fully believe that we're going to beat Napoli 3-0 at home, and that'll sort that out. Anyway, guys, there's a bit for us to get through tonight. See a few people in the chat already. How are you? Louise, Harry, Fun Gamer, Nabil, Will, Imran, Ben. How are we? Great to have you on so quickly as well. Thank you. Really do appreciate how quick you guys got on here. Every night when I start to stream, you get a bit nervous. You think to yourself, am I going to be on here a couple of minutes before anybody comes on? Have I got nothing to talk about if I'm on my own or if anyone doesn't pop on? But there you are, in your droves already. Thank you, guys. Great to have you on. As you can see from the title of tonight's stream, guys, I thought we could have a little chat about, is Mr. Klopp in Pep Guardiola's head? I think that he is, you know. We kind of joked about it last night, and a couple of people were mentioning the fact that when Pep was asked about the penalty incident with Raheem Sterling, he kept harping back to the game against Liverpool. He's a funny fucker, and I really do think these lads are obsessed with us. I won't even bother going into their Spiegel stuff today because there's just more and more of the same stuff. Basically, in case you didn't get it, over the past 4 days, German site Der Spiegel has been basically lifting the lid on how Manchester City is really run. And the way they just don't give a fuck about FFP, and they're hiding shit, they're putting stuff through offshore companies. They're basically just making a mockery of everybody that's trying to run their club the right way, and sticking two fingers up at us all. But you know what, Man City can go and fuck themselves. They'll be found out eventually. This is a Liverpool show. We're here to talk about the Reds, and I want to know, do you think that Kloppo is inside Pep's head? I do, but I want to hear your opinions on this before I really give mine out there, because I don't want to influence your thoughts either way. Ashley Young said Manchester City are scared of us. Stephen Richard said what's up tonight, or what's tonight's top. It's just an Under Armour one, mate. Nothing too snazzy tonight. Had a shower, threw on a comfortable top, and came onto the stream. Pep is talking about us more than his own team, said Paul Turner. It's weird, isn't it? It's just fucking weird. I think that's the only way we can describe this. Not just their fans. Now the manager's at it. It's absolute madness. Just let it go. I don't understand. Why? Why would he be openly talking about Liverpool and comparing a situation with Raheem Sterling to a situation last year with Liverpool against Manchester City? It makes no sense. Absolutely just madness. It just opens him up to ridicule by bald Irish idiots like me that can come on here and proudly spout that he thinks that our manager is inside Pep Guardiola's head. It's beautiful. It's good fun for me. I'm sure Manchester City fans haven't really had the greatest of weeks. Yes, they can go and beat Shakhtar Donetsk 6-0, and fair play to them. But at the end of the day, I'd be fucking worried if I was them guys. I would be worried. Man Shifty. Love that, Tony. That's a cracking name. Man Shifty. I think we'll adopt that from now on. If I remember to call them anything, I'll call them Man Shifty going forward, Tony. That's a belter. Neil Anthony said, evening, did you hear that we have employed a new Brazilian scout? I certainly did not, mate. Thank you for sharing that one. Is he anybody famous, or is he just a Brazilian scout? Because sometimes we employ people like Canija, who I think was the brother of the footballer, or Claudio Canija. Maybe it was the same maybe it was Claudio Canija. I know we've had some links over in Argentina anyway, with somebody called Canija from a scouting point of view. After the scandal, I think it's City's last season, said Val. Something's going to have to be done about it. I mean, they're taking the absolute piss. Them and PSG, it's ridiculous. There was another article in Der Spiegel today around Bayern Munich. And the article, all it was basically saying about Bayern Munich was that they were trying to push ahead with this European Super League, and that there was a contract doing the rounds that had to be signed in November by the 11 founder members. And then there was going to be five clubs that were invited members. And the thing about this European Super League is that if you're one of the 11, which Liverpool technically are, I suppose, we don't know if this will ever happen, but if you're one of these 11 teams, you couldn't be relegated from this European Super League for a period of 20 years. So, you know, if you joined that league, and I don't want it to happen, I've got to be clear about this, I don't want it to happen, But if you join that league, we spoke about the figures being around €500 million a year in revenue. You're talking about being guaranteed to be in that league for 20 years if you're one of these founding 11. And Der Spiegel have contracts that were sent around to the clubs, basically stipulating a few do's, a few don'ts, and a few other bits and pieces. And nobody is really talking about it. I think not Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund. I believe somebody from their end came out and said that while I'm in charge of Borussia Dortmund, the club will certainly not be going into a European Super League. A few other little bits and pieces as well. But again, Der Spiegel really coming up with some interesting stuff. Manchester City, God, we could go through that story over and over again. The long and short of it, and I've read the 4 days worth of comments, but what I can take from it really is that a lot of the money that's coming through Etihad and that's coming in through other sources is all being funneled from the Abu Dhabi United group, which is the group that's owned by Sheikh Mansour, and it's basically just going around in circles through different accounts and then landing in these accounts that are apparently sponsoring Manchester City. Etihad, we spoke before, Etihad actually only pay 8 million a year according to Der Spiegel, although the contract says they pay 67.5 million, something like that. The remaining 59.5 million apparently comes from Sheikh Mansour via this Abu Dhabi United group. We've touched on all this throughout the week. We've touched on the dodgy dealings, the people that they've got, the emails that have basically said fuck you to FFP. We've heard that there was political pressure put on Gianni Infantino and UEFA to give them a soft deal, both PSG and Manchester City, and a few other bits and pieces. But what it has done, guys, is let us know that it's not a level playing field, that clubs that are trying to do their business the right way just can't get by. They cannot compete with Manchester City, and it seems if nothing is done about it, they're going to keep cheating and they're going to keep getting away with it, and we can all basically just fight for second, because if they get away with this and that Sheikh Mansour keeps pouring that money into the club, there's just nothing can be done basically. Over 2 billion gone into Manchester City already in investment. Over 2 fucking billion. This for a man that has come to one game in 10 years. The owner of the club has been to one game, which was a game, funnily enough, that they beat Liverpool 3-0. And that was in 2013, I think. Don't hold me to that one. But yeah, he's been to one game in 10 years. Madness. Craig, the European Super League can fuck off, said Stephen Richards. I'm with you, mate. And a lot of journalists as well, and a lot of football fans around the world, I'm sure, are right behind you. Is Claudio Caniggia still flying without wings after getting launched into the air the World Cup after that tackle? I don't know, Damo. I don't know, but in the good news, you talked about flying without wings there, mate. The good news, I'm sure you know this. I don't have to tell you, Damo. A man of your stature in society would know that Westlife has reformed, mate. So I don't know if you got your tickets to the gigs, but Westlife are back together, Damo. And I get the feeling that you're a bit of a Westlife fan. So let me know, have you got the tickets? It's not embarrassing if you're going to 2 or 3 nights in a row, mate. Don't worry about it, we've all been there. Craig, I'm going to the game on Sunday, said Scotty. Nice one, mate. Class. I'm expecting big things, Scotty. I'm not going to lie. I'm expecting a performance, because what we got during the week is unacceptable. It's just plain unacceptable, mate. It wasn't even one of those games where we just attacked, and they defended for their lives. It's just, we didn't deserve anything from it. Red Star got what they deserved, which was a win, and we were just shambolic. It really was poor. And we'll get into talking about Liverpool's formation and what we'd like to see against Fulham at the weekend a little bit later on in the stream. I just want to go through some more of your comments. Guys, I've been looking back and I've been watching a few of the recent streams. I'm always trying to have a look back, see what I've done right, what I've done wrong, what way the chat has gone, and how the streams have genuinely gone. And I think I've been a little bit too downbeat. I feel like I've been a little bit too depressing on here, and I feel like I owe you guys somewhat of an apology. This stream needs to be more upbeat. We need to be the voice of reason and the voice of fun. So let's all loosen up, let's relax, let's have a bit of crack tonight. And by crack, I'm talking about the Irish sense. Nobody get fucking excited thinking we're going to be getting out the old needles here. I'm talking about the Irish sense. And kick back and relax. Fun fact, actually. Can I say this without giving it away? I think I can. Can I? Yeah, so often I go through and I scoot through a few domain names, you know, just to see what's available. As you guys know, I've told you before, I bought dietchav.com, I've got anfieldagenda.com with Connor, and I have a few other web domains that I own the rights to. Last night I was thinking, and I bought a domain name that I'm really probably fucking proud of, and I can't believe it was available. I can't believe it was available, but I bought it anyway, and it's called thecrackstore.com. Now, crack spelled in an Irish sense, so it's THECRAIC store.com. I couldn't believe I was able to get that, but I've no idea if I'll ever do anything with it. But my God, when I seen it was available, I had to buy it. Thecrackstore.com. So fucking proud of that one. Can we please talk about how fucking shit and stupid the international break is, mate? Here's your brother. I agree with you 100%. I was only talking about this on social media today on Twitter. This is the third international break since the season has started in August. And this is coming on the back of a World Cup summer. So players were getting back late, players were coming back injured, players weren't getting their full pre-seasons. And now here we are in November. And this will be the third time that the countries have taken the players away from their clubs, dragged them around Europe, in some cases back over to South America. Although if you're a Manchester City player, you know, you don't have to go and play these pesky little internationals for Brazil or anything like that. Nah, you just give a little nod and a wink and everything's grand there in that sense. But for our lads and, you know, the general Joe Soapers that have to go and play for the countries, it's a lot of miles covered. It's, you know, it's a lot more stress on the body. The players aren't getting the same training regimes that they have with their clubs. We know England like to break Liverpool players left, right and centre. So it's a worry. It's a worry because Klopp's not getting the time he wants with the players. And he will have time with some of them, like James Milner and that will be still around. So Klopp will, yeah, so he'll get to work with them, but it's not great. It's stopping clubs from getting into a rhythm. On the back of a summer World Cup, it just seems madness to me that they can get 3 breaks before the end of November. So what's that? August, September, October. 4 months and we've had 3 international breaks already. That seems madness. Craig, average attendance in the city is now 86,000. That's a fact, Stephen. Stadium only holds 52 or 53 or something like that, but I'm sure those numbers stack up. You're right, mate. They're probably doubling up to a seat or something at this point. And that's without the 86,000 shirts that are sold at every home game as well, with name and numbers on the back. And they've probably pre-bought their season tickets for the next 10 years as well. Manchester City ruined football. Most expensive players, defenders, Van Dijk and Alisson, midfielders, Pogba, Jorginho, Keita, attackers, Lukaku, Mahrez. It's not just that, mate. I understand where you're going with this. Manchester City, they set the standard. I mean, they start paying 50 million on fullbacks. Nobody was spending 50 million quid on fullbacks until they went and bought Kyle Walker and Mendy. I mean, nobody was spending that type of money on fullbacks. Van Dijk, yes, Van Dijk is the world's most expensive defender. No argument there whatsoever. That was one of 2 big purchases Liverpool have ever made, basically, of that level. And both were funded by the sale of Coutinho to an extent. Van Dijk came in or was coming in before Coutinho was heading off, so that was no shock. Alisson came in, yeah, world record free for a goalkeeper, which was then surpassed. But look at the net spend. And I'm not somebody who really likes to talk about net spends, but I was looking at something on Sky Sports News yesterday or the day before, and they were putting about the net spends of the clubs over the past 5 or 6 years. And Manchester City were fucking miles ahead of everybody. Not just Manchester United, not just Liverpool, they were miles ahead of everybody. So it's fair enough that you can say the most expensive players, but you have to go right back to a time where they were bringing in Fabinho. So for instance, with Leroy Sané, he was guaranteed a contract of 21.8 million quid or something when he came in to Manchester City, and he was told that if he didn't make 28 million, that they would wire the rest of the money to him. If the bonuses didn't come through to make up the 28 million, they just wire the rest of the money through to him. When it came to buying Kevin De Bruyne from Wolfsburg, the fee was 50 million quid at the time that was being put through from Wolfsburg. Weren't willing to sell. Internal documents for Manchester City said basically lean on these fuckers until they have to sell, and then they sold them for, I can't remember what exactly it was at the time. I'm not going to make up a figure because I hate being wrong and stuff like that. And he's on ridiculous wages as well. Then you go back to a time where they bought Raheem Sterling for 50 million quid. 50 million quid back then for Raheem Sterling was an awful lot of money. Look at the wages that Raheem Sterling has gone. He's about to sign a contract worth around 300 grand a week. So yes, I get your point on Manchester City, But it's a bit more than this. It's the wages that they're paying these players. It's the sheer amount of players that they have at the club for every position as well. Go through that team and you'll see very, very few signings that aren't of a top amount of money, like a top whack of money. They might not be record breakers, I'll give you that one, but that was an expensively assembled team. When they bought a goalkeeper, world record for a goalkeeper. Now that didn't last too long. It was smashed, absolutely smashed by Liverpool and Chelsea. I'll give you that one. I read something else last night. Well, somebody sent it to me and I felt... I have to say this because it comes from... It's something I want to talk about, but the source of it makes me feel ill. It comes from one of the Red Tops. Somebody sent it to me, but I want to just talk... I'm not even going to mention names. I just want to talk about what was in it. And apparently Manchester United are set to offer Martial a contract worth £45 million a year with bonuses. I'm going to say that again. £45 million a year with bonuses. Now, if this is true, my rough calculations work out that if all bonuses came in, that would be somewhere in and around £860,000 a week for Martial. That's... I don't know if this is true. Manchester United have dug a hole for themselves at what they're paying Alexis Sanchez, but surely that couldn't be true. £45 million a year just not to lose him on a free contract. That seems fucking madness to me. What else have we got? I'm not a City supporter, but in their defence, teams like United and Liverpool were able to outspend City for years. You're missing a massive point to all this though, mate. United can outspend everybody because they're a bigger club than Manchester City. They bring in more revenue than Manchester City. They have more commercial sponsors than Manchester City, but it's all legitimate. It's all legitimate money. Do you think we'll win the Premier League or the Champions League with Clichy and Zabaleta? Of course not. Mate, if you're a Manchester City fan, you know what? You're going to obviously defend your team, and I won't say otherwise. I'd do the same in your position. But surely you have to admit, if this stuff from Der Spiegel has come out, and it is true, then Manchester City are in serious fucking trouble. Where they got their money from, they have a rich sugar daddy. Nobody can argue with that. Nobody is arguing your success on the field. Nobody is arguing how good the team is. Nobody's arguing how good your manager is. Nobody's saying that the manager nor the players did anything wrong whatsoever. But the people that run the club seem to be absolute cunts in regards to how they're doing it with relation to how they're treating other teams and how they're treating the rules that's set out by FIFA. After that, mate, it's up to you what you want to say. You're going to defend your club. You've every right to. You're a Manchester City fan. Fair play to you. City have made a £50 million bid for Lazar Markovic. Not even City are going to do that, mate. Don't be silly. I wonder how Man City players will have to go. Many will have to go on international duty this week. I don't know, Rod, mate. I don't know. Yeah, Yaya plays for Olympiacos, by the way, for those wondering. He signed for Olympiacos. I've just seen a couple of people in the chat there talking about him. Those Martial contracts include paternity leave. I don't know, Damo, mate. I'd imagine so, at that type of wage. That's more than Messi and Ronaldo were on. Crazy money if true. It's ridiculous money if true, and the only way I could think of why, and again, this is only speculation, so don't, none of us are saying this is gospel, and we've known that the media do lie and make things up from time to time. They do exaggerate contracts, but that would make him probably the highest paid player in the world. And would that be just of a fear of Manchester United not wanting to lose him on a free? Or did they work out how much it might take to replace him with a similar type of player, including wages? I don't know. If City get punishment, they'll be playing Rochdale. Not TTDB Derry. You can say bollocks, mate, but bollocks isn't really giving an answer. That's the thing. You're not defending the club with any facts. You're just giving opinions as a fan. And I respect that as a fan. But just saying bollocks doesn't really defend anything, does it, mate? I've never seen Manchester City shirt abroad. Was walking through Bangkok and it was full of red shirts. Fun Gamer said, where do you live from in Ireland? If that was aimed at me, mate, the answer is Wexford, but I'm originally from Dublin. I'm not sure if that was aimed at our Manchester City friend or if that was aimed at me. Nabil said, do you know City are a brand new team when they've named a training ground after Joe Hart, the club's biggest legend who they chucked out. That's not true. It couldn't be. What's Brian Morrissey saying? It's not true. I'm not sure what that is. Shake, rattling, sold. Oh, loving that one, Mega Donkey. Anyway, back to this whole thing about Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp. We've seen that Klopp is somebody who can get inside Pep Guardiola's head when it comes to games of football. Let's just stick to that. When it comes to games of football, we've seen during this time at Borussia Dortmund and in Pep's time at Bayern Munich that these two had some pretty good battles. And I think, I could be wrong about this, but I think Jurgen Klopp is one of the few, if not the only manager, to have a positive record against Pep Guardiola in head-to-head. I think about that. Don't hold me on that. I just know that it's been, pretty competitive between the two of them. Maybe we're being a bit optimistic here, thinking that we're inside Pep Guardiola's head and that he feels rattled. I mean, look at it from the outside sense. We're the ones sort of struggling for form at this moment in time. Manchester City are scoring goals to beat the band. They're playing really well. But we're obviously getting to them. We know that from last season and the whole bus incident. We know that from how much we've wound them up knocking them out of the Champions League. So we are getting to them, but I honestly wouldn't have thought we were getting to the manager. Now we've seen the what was the Manchester City documentary? What was that? Amazon. Yeah, we've seen that on Amazon. And in fairness to Pep Guardiola, he openly said he was worried about our front three, and look, that should be no secret to anybody. The Martial thing, it's 45 million over the course of the contract. That's not what I read, Brian, mate. Let me just double check it though. I just remember that's not what I read, but bear with me. Sorry, Brian. If you're, I just want to check, mate, because if you're right, then it would make more fucking sense to me. But bear with me. Again, sorry for the. Yes, you are correct. I'm looking at the two things. Brian, and you were correct, but I can prove what I read was that he was being offered £45 million a year. But I've read the article, and the article states exactly what you've said. So in fairness to Brian, there is a shorter version that I've read that says it's 45 million a year, but that's not true. What Brian has said is spot on. It was printed in error. Thank you, mate. You're spot on. It is 45 million over the course of his contract, which makes much more fucking sense. That's 190 odd grand a week, so yeah, thank fuck that that's true, because for a second there I was worried about what way the game was going. Even a club like Manchester United, the club with their financial clout, when I saw that figure last night, I was just thinking, fuck me, there's no way anybody can sustain that. But thank you, Brian, for putting my mind at ease there and making me check that one up, because it makes much more sense. At that though, I don't think he'll sign that. I don't think Martial will sign a contract worth 190 grand a week, because he can probably get more than that elsewhere. So that's cheered me up no end in two ways, Brian. So thank you. Craig, remember Spurs way last year? We got some stick for that, and yet we had a decent season. We did, mate. It ruined some of my fucking holiday last year. But you know what? I was looking forward to the game against Spurs this year to see how the players reacted, because that's all you can ever ask of players in certain situations is, if they fuck up, if they play badly, can they alter that? And they went back to Spurs this year and left with 3 points, which for me is a massive plus. From going there last year and having the memory of that 4-1 beating, to come back this year and to get a result, it's fantastic. Let's not lie, Manchester's season last year, we broke 3 records, 100 points, 108 goals, scored 27. We went from 1 lose to short of a team could be in the U5 7th of maybe final. Yes, mate, you had a fantastic season last year, record-breaking season. You're absolutely spot on. Nobody can argue what you're saying there, and everybody thinks that Manchester City are a fantastic footballing team. Nobody is having a dig at the players at Gaffer. You guys play excellent football, so don't think anyone's having a dig at that. We're just talking about how the club is run. That's all I'm looking at here, mate. Not the players, not the manager. I'll have a dig at their fans for other reasons, because some of your fans are absolute assholes. When do you think our consistent solid performances started to drop this season? It's a tough one, Jay Gamer, because I don't know if we ever really hit a top level of performance. We've ground out games. We've done a professional job. Very few times I feel have we got out of second or third gear, and I always wanted to believe that that's because we didn't need to. But then when you see a couple of the performances recently, it feels like maybe we're not able to. Now, second or third gear for Liverpool will probably win an awful lot of games. And so far this season, it's kept us unbeaten in the Premier League. But there has to be another level to go through. And whether that's because... I read an article from... wasn't David Maddock. It was... Who was it that writes for... Oh, what's the guy's name? Somebody will tell me his name in a second. One of the big writers that writes about Liverpool. He's a small little guy. I fucking met the guy. I can't believe I can't remember his name. Anyway, he was saying that he doesn't think that Fabinho and Keita have delivered so far this season. He believes that some Liverpool fans think that Fabinho has put in a couple of good performances, and he disagrees. He thinks that Fabinho has been bang average. Same with Keita. He thinks Keita hasn't been up to scratch either. And you know what? For 93 odd million quid, I say I have to kind of agree. I would have expected more. I'm not going to be too harsh, because I've always said I want to give both these players the season to settle in. And Naby Keita has had an injury that's hampered his progress. Fabinho has been kept back for whatever reason by the manager. But now that they're starting to settle in and they're starting to get game time, I would expect their level to start going higher, and I expect them to play a little bit better than they have been. I've been so disappointed this season with our midfield. They've been consistent, they've been professional. James Milner and Gini Wijnaldum have given good solid performances. They played actually well, but there's something missing. There's almost like there's a line missing between our midfield and our attack, or there's a set of players missing. We just don't have anyone to play in between the lines. Like we're talking about City there, they have David Silva, Bernardo Silva. They can drop in and play between the lines, no problem. De Bruyne can do it. Hazard can do it at Chelsea. We don't seem to have that person. Shaqiri is the obvious person we can turn to, but can he play that at a consistent level? Should we be looking to put that much pressure on him? Should he be our only out in that position? We know Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is injured. So I'm a little bit confused, but I think we will come good. I think we will sort this out. I think that we will be there or thereabouts at Christmas time, and I think we'll get stronger as the season goes on. Somebody made the point to me that perhaps we won't be as burnt out this year, or the players will have a little bit more on their legs for the run in. And you know what? That could very well be true as well. So it's we can look at this in two ways. We can look at it in the way I've just discussed it there and be a little bit downhearted or a little bit downbeat, or we can look at it from a positive sense, and let's please try and do this, that we're unbeaten in the fucking league, 8 wins and 3 draws, and we haven't got out of second or third gear. Thoughts on Arsenal winning 2 games in a row, 1-1 against us and 0-0 against Sporting. That was an awful game for an out tonight. I watched that game against Sporting. It wasn't a great game of football. But look, to be fair to Arsenal, they're absolutely gliding through in that tournament, so no issues there. Can't argue with City winning the league and their performances. The problem is City not playing the same FFP rules as most other clubs. The truth is, Damo, they're not just not playing them, mate. They're blatantly fucking making a show of them. And when it comes to a point where people are putting pressure on governing bodies, it's just not right. And you can't sign... Like, people can say that maybe if these FFP rules were tested in court, or some of football's... what are they called? Football's rules, I suppose we could say. If they were tested in a court of law, that a lot of them might not stand up. Now, I can't say if that's the case, of course, but I'd say a lot of them are open to scrutiny. But either way, everybody agreed. I think there's 200 and odd clubs under UEFA's banner, and maybe more. I think everybody agreed to play by these rules. Everybody agreed. FFP was voted in. It was voted in the Premier League as well. Or at least the Premier League introduced their own version of FFP. So the rules are there. If you're circumventing the rules and you're hiding stuff offshore and you're setting up fake sponsorship deals, then you've got to take the punishment. I'm sorry, but Fabiano was rubbish versus Arsenal. Fabinho. You mean Fabinho, Scotty? You're not the only one who's saying that, mate. I'm trying to be positive here because I really want to talk about good news stuff. But he'll come good. He'll absolutely come good. It's far too early to be really talking negatively about him. I still can't think of the name of that journalist. It wasn't David Maddock because he writes for the Mirror. What was his name? Bear with me. I'm going to see if I can find it in a second. I know actually somebody who commented on it, so bear with me. Chris Bascom. Yes, it was Chris Bascom's article. So if anybody gets a chance, have a look at Chris Bascom's article about Liverpool expecting more from the midfielders that we bought for 93 million quid in the summer, and let me know your thoughts on it. Let me know, are you a little bit disappointed with what we've seen from Naby Keita and Fabinho so far? Or do you think that they deserve, well, they do deserve time, that's not even up for debate. Would you have expected a little bit more from them, or do you think they're at the level that you would have expected them to be at this moment in time? Tippy said, with the change in system, it put more weight on the midfield, be more creative rather than pressing high. Liverpool need to find the player who can add that spark. It's a lot of pressure, isn't it, to put on one player? I was doing that my team for the weekend, and I was looking through Twitter to find everybody else's team, and a lot of people, myself included when I actually looked at the way I wrote my team down, a lot of people are going 4-2-3-1. A lot of us. And as I said, me included, and I subconsciously put my team as 4-2-3-1. And it wasn't until I really got past looking at the 11 players and start working which ways I'd like to see them in a system that I thought, do you know what, this is a 4-2-3-1 in my head. But with a 4-2-3-1, are we being too negative if we played that at home? So I'll tell you what, I'll give you guys my team for the game. And I don't know, my problem with this is I'm not sure if Trent and Gomez are available. I know both have picked up knocks, so I based my team on everybody being available from that back four. So the team that I would go with for the game against Fulham, and I know people are going to have their own choices and I'd love to hear them, so please do put it in the chat. I go with the obvious in goal, Alisson Becker. Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back, Gomez and Van Dijk and Robbo. Then for the midfield two, I'd go with Fabinho and Keita. I would put Shaqiri ahead in the hole, with either side of him I would have Firmino and Mane, and I would have Salah up the top of that diamond. So I'd have Firmino in the centre, or Firmino out to the right, Mane to the left, and I would play Shaqiri to the centre. Actually, do you know what, maybe I'd move Shaqiri to the right and put Firmino to the centre. So I was thinking when I looked at it, am I being too defensive there? Now we can say play 4-2-3-1 having Naby Keita there. Naby Keita can step forward, but is that too defensive at home against Fulham? Should we be realistically playing 4-1-3-2, 4-1-2-3, whichever way you want to look at it? Should we be playing two attacking mids? Nothing will happen. Money seems to rule everything. Chris Bascom, yes, that's the one. That's the guy. Thank you very much for that. I heard a rumour about Fabinho not getting game time and PSG want him. That rumour was going around for a while. There was talk of Rabiot involved in that rumour as well, mate, but I'd ignore it. It's not going to happen. I feel like there's some sort of early agenda against Fabinho. Like I said the other day, rumours of him leaving for PSG. Again, I'll just reiterate what I said there, buddy. I don't think that he's off anywhere. Why would he be? He's only after joining the club. Jurgen Klopp would not go out and spend the type of money that he spent on Fabinho if he wasn't certain of him, and if he wasn't the player that he wanted. So yeah, do you know what, yeah, I don't think there's anything to it, mate. But I'd love Rabiot, don't get me wrong in that sense. I'd absolutely love Rabiot. No idea where we could fucking fit him in because we've so many midfielders, but I would like him. Got told off yesterday by the Anfield rap for calling them moaners recently. That's you know, I haven't been on the Anfield rap in a long time, Rod. So I couldn't comment on whether they're being negative or not, buddy. They make great content, that's all I can say. We might be saving our energy and pressing for the second half of the season. It's all guesswork. LFC_5, mate. You could be spot on, but it's all guesswork from us, isn't it? I saw Klein in training, said Furno. Mane, Salah or Firmino, said Jay Gamer. I'd go Fabinho, Naby, Shaqiri in midfield. That's exactly what I was going with, Stephen, as well. Although, to be fair, I was going 4-2-3-1. I wasn't really. I was going Fabinho, Naby, and then 3 ahead with Salah up top. Only way we'll sign him is a swap deal for Kylian Mbappe. If you weren't on yesterday, I talked a little bit about Kylian Mbappe's contract. And again, a leaked article from Der Spiegel. When he was signing his contract at Paris Saint-Germain, he asked for 50 hours of jet hire a year to take himself around the world or whatever, which was denied. But what he does get on his contract in Paris Saint-Germain is 30 grand a month for his staff, so he can pay his driver, his gardener, his chef and his bodyguard, and that's part of his contract. It's also in his contract, I believe, that his father has to be present at every training session that he takes part in, and that his father can take him for extra training afterwards if needs be. And a few other bits and pieces. There was a deal on the table when he signed from Monaco to Paris Saint-Germain. There was a similar deal on the table from Real Madrid. So I think €180 million was put down by both clubs. And when the Mbappe family and his father looked at this, they decided that they'd rather go to PSG because they thought he'd get more game time there and it would help progress his career. Take from that what you will, but 30k a month, that's mad, isn't it? 30k a month for staff just seems nuts to us mere mortals. And I love Kylian Mbappe. I'm not having a dig at him. I think he is the future of football. He's an absolute superstar. I love the way he runs at defenders. I love the way he has that absolute petulance of youth. So I'm not having to go Kylian Mbappe. I'm just kind of shocked as to what footballers get compared to us mere mortals. Tippy said 4-2-3-1 is not a negative formation as long as Klopp plays the tactics right. Yeah, I suppose it all depends on what we're expecting of Naby in my scenario anyway, in my 4-2-3-1. The Anfield rap have been boring the shite out of me the last couple of weeks, said Stephen Richards. To be fair, and I'm not trying to defend anybody or say anything of anyone, because I have to say I haven't listened to the Anfield rap since I cancelled my subscription a couple of months ago. But the reason I cancelled my subscription had nothing to do with anything other than the fact that I'm so busy I didn't have time to listen to it. Because anytime I did, I enjoyed it. So I have to be honest about that. But it has been tough, Stephen, to make content for the last few weeks. I've been struggling my ass off, as has Connor and a few other Liverpool content makers, because there hasn't been too much to get excited about. And there hasn't been too much to try and keep everybody happy with, and we haven't had any real performances to celebrate. Making Liverpool content is fickle at times, I've got to be honest. When things are going well, everybody's on. You're getting lots of listens, lots of views. And when it's quiet, like, you understand that it's quiet, there's not much on, people go off and do other things. But when you see a massive pickup in content, whether it be on here or on podcasts, is around transfer season. Transfer season is silly season, and the numbers that you get in and around transfers are absolutely fucking mental. And I mean mental. The first year I made podcasts, most of the other podcasts that were in and around the level that our podcast was at, so not the big boys, we were, only starting out. Everybody packed up for the summer. So when the season finished up, everybody headed off and did their things. But we continued doing podcasts throughout the summer, kind of because we were new with it and we were still in love with doing it, but mostly because I just wanted to keep going. And we noticed that over the course of that summer, our listenership quadrupled. And by the time we started back the season, we were getting 4 or 5 times more listeners then. I said quadruple, but by the time the season actually started, and we got playing games, we got more on top of that again. So we had about 5 times the listeners that we did by the end of that season. And that was all because of the transfer window. People fucking love transfers. So again, to circle back around, to be fair to any other content providers at the minute, it is really tough to talk about stuff because there's not many positives happening. People are trying to stick the boot into Liverpool at the minute. People are trying to pull stories about Mane not signing contract. People are putting in stories about Fabinho wanting to get out. There's other stories as well. There's stories around the goalkeepers. There's stories around the fullbacks. You've seen the shit about Trent. People trying to pull that shit as well. And then you've got all the stuff about Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain coming in, and all the talk of the European Breakaway League, and then you've got injuries to players, and all that combines, and what that does is it just makes everybody feel a bit down. So that's why I said, let's come on here tonight and have a bit of a laugh. Have a bit of fun. Let me know your team for the weekend. Let me know by how many times you think we're going to win? Because I think this is gonna, when I say times, I mean like in multiples of 2. So if you think we're going to win 1-0, tell me it's going to be 2-0. Let's exaggerate the shit out of it. Let's build this up. Let's look forward to it. Let's have a laugh. I know it's a fucking stupid early kickoff. Again, 12 o'clock on a Sunday. And somebody pointed out that we have another one next month, or later on this month. Whenever we play Bournemouth, we have another 12:30 kickoff coming up against Bournemouth away, which for travelling fans is a fucking disgrace. For Liverpool fans, or any football fans, to have to go from one end of the country to the other for a 12:30 kickoff is a joke. How about giving Jones a run out against Fulham? He looked really good in the friendlies. Just polishing up my CV to apply for the job of Mbappe's eccentric butler. I might need a reference from you guys. Done, Damo. Consider it done, mate. Glowing reference, without a shadow of a doubt, buddy. Just tell me how eccentric you want me to go and consider it done. Didn't that happen with Brewster? What was this? Did he apply for a job with Mbappe? Did he get the job? Is that why we haven't seen him yet? Everybody loves a transfer, brings out fantasy and imagination of what could be. That's absolutely true, Mr. RJC. You have hit the nail on the head. People love a fucking transfer rumour, whether it's true or not. A lot of the time, because we want to believe it's true, or there's 5% of a chance in the back of our minds that it might be true, people buy into it and people stay with the stories. Look at the ITKs, look at their accounts over the course of the summer and the January windows. Even though people know 99% of it is shit, they move on, and they listen and they read and they click, and they say maybe, just maybe. It's mad how it works. The psychology of it all fascinates me. Any phone-in guests, Craig? Not tonight, dirty girl. Possibly tomorrow. Connor could be back tomorrow, but no, not tonight. I wanted to give it a break actually, because I've had Connor on a lot lately, and I felt like when I have somebody on, whether it be Cash, Connor, it doesn't matter who it is, because it's irrelevant actually who it is, I find that I can't get through as many of your comments, and that makes me feel bad, because this is your show, as I keep saying, and I want to read out as many of your comments as I can. So if I have guests on, I feel like sometimes I'm almost ignoring you guys to an extent. And we seen what happened the other night with Paul. Paul got a bit upset when he didn't think he thought I was ignoring his comments. It's not the first time I've had a comment like that. So tonight I just wanted to go through and have a chat with everybody and go through all your comments, because you guys come on here every night and I feel bad when I don't read out your stream comments. So apologies on that one. Sorry wasn't on the stream Wednesday. Had to go to snooker game. Team won as well. Nice one. I fucking love a game of snooker. And do you know that? Many hours was spent, misspent youth, ditching off school to go and play snooker, mate. So well in. Nice one. Do you play on the professional tables with the smaller pockets, or you just playing league snooker? I remember I played once on that professional table against Michael Judge. I was playing out in Bray, and Michael Judge was out there practicing, and he asked, that I want to play a frame with him. I think he was bored. I remember his first time I ever played on a pro table with the smaller pockets. Oh, fucking hell. I swear in my mind the balls just didn't fit in the pockets. And then, of course, Michael Judge went up and it was all bang, 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 bang. Balls in everywhere. But yeah, some difference even in that centimetre or half centimetre, whatever it is in the difference. Get us some inside information, Damo, said Mr. RJC, if you go over and work for Mbappe. I mean, get me a job, mate, perhaps. I'll run his social media accounts if he's looking for somebody. Klopp and the boys will come out balls blazing. 5-0, said Rod. 5-0 to the Reds. Fun times at Craig Mount High. There you go. Get the AA nude calendar for 2019. I'd assume everybody's already pre-ordered that, Rod. I mean, it's Connor January to November, and then I pop out my Santa suit for December. I don't want to ruin the unveiling, but that's it. That's the AA nude calendar 2019. Double centre page spread with Raptor as well in there, which is well worth a read. I mean, I only get it for the articles, Rod. Yourself. That's the only reason I buy this type of smut. I think Jones could be on the bench at least for Sunday. Bring him on if we're in control, said Ant. Imran has gone for Alisson, Klein, Gomez, Virgil van Dijk, Andy Robertson, Fabinho, Keita, Shaqiri, Mane, Salah and Firmino. Big call there, mate, going for Nathaniel Klein. Again, we were only talking about what's happened to Klein yesterday. been a long time since we've really seen him seriously in and around the team. I think he played in the League Cup game, if memory serves correct, but apart from that, I don't really remember Kleiny getting too much action this season. But other than that, I think, our teams are pretty similar, buddy. Indicator, top-notch ITK. I mean, cream of the crop, Cameron. He is the godfather, and the grandfather, I suppose, of all ITKs. I'd love to see Curtis Jones get a chance in the first team. He was killing it in the under-19s along with Camacho, Adam Lewis, Bobby Duncan. Jones is a phenomenal talent. He'll get through, I think, mate. He himself in the summer, he did himself no harm whatsoever. Himself and Nat Phillips were Nat Phillips. I always get that confused. Is it Nat or Nate? Either way, in the summer, both of those guys did themselves no harm whatsoever in pre-season. I thought they were both excellent. Two standout young performers of the summer for me. What do you think of Harry Wilson? He's almost like an enigma at this point, Kirby, isn't he? Or Kigby, excuse me, Kigby. Yeah, he's that player that may never get a chance for some mad reason, but is off doing great things. I don't know. I don't know what to think, Kigby. I don't. He's scoring some wonderful goals, playing by all accounts really well for Derby. Welsh international. I don't know what to say, mate. In theory, he should get a chance. In theory, but is he at our level? I'm glad I'm not in Jurgen Klopp's shoes, having to make this decision. But what I would like to see happen at least is for him to see out the season at Derby. Fingers crossed, he's part of a promotion-winning Derby team. That'll be great for his confidence. And then I'd like to see Jurgen Klopp give him the summer. So I'd like to give him the pre-season tour in the summer to really have a look at him and see how he's progressed over the season, and leave it very late in the summer to make a call on him. So he's got every opportunity to take a look at him, because you don't want him to be the one that got away if that turns out to be the case. But Jurgen Klopp is an excellent judgment of young talent. So if anybody can pick him out, I think Klopp can. But for me, I don't know. I've gone over that conversation with Connor so many times this year about Harry Wilson, and I can never make my mind up. What do you guys think? Do you think Harry Wilson has a future at the club? Bobby Duncan, by the way, seems to be doing great things at underage level. But going back to Harry Wilson, what do you think, Mr. Kigby, or what do you guys think? Does he have a future at the club? Imran said Harry Wilson's a future star. I'd rather start Curtis Jones instead of Lallana, said Ferno. Do you know what? Yeah, maybe. And do you know why? Because you might as well look to the future. That's the way I'd look at this. For me, it seems clear that Lallana is getting to the end of his time at Liverpool. Whether that be this season, even if he was to play one more season, I don't think we're going to see Adam Lallana at the levels we've previously seen him at. So why not perhaps give a youngster some minutes or look to the future? If you believe in this young guy, then why not? Fulham at the weekend, it would be a big gamble, because if you go into the international break on the back of another disappointing result, it's going to be tough. The fan base are going to be up in arms for the entire fucking international break. The naysayers are going to be out. The media are probably going to be sticking the boot in. So yeah, it's tough, mate. But Curtis Jones is a very, very, very talented footballer. We're all guests. There you go. Tom said, you're right, you're all guests. So they are. You're just not phone-ins, but you're all guests. You're all guests of your own channel, which is a funny thing. That Paul thing was epic. His head was going to burst, said Brian. Unfortunately, mate, it didn't end there. I'd like to say that was the end of the situation, but it wasn't. So I've had to mute Paul on Twitter as well, unfortunately. And it's sad because I had a lot of time for Paul. Paul was a very good part of our group in here, but it was a bit much. It was a bit much. That's all I'm going to say in it, because I won't disrespect the gentleman because he doesn't deserve it. I just felt his behaviour was a little bit much, a little bit beyond acceptable. Craig, we've got some cracking young players coming through, said Stephen Richards. Likes, baby. Every time, Tom, man, every time you put that up, the Vanilla Ice line just clicks into the back of my head. Some of the tables are good in our league, Craig. Best tables are Thingwall, who have produced professional snooker players. It's a dying game, I think, isn't it, Ant? I mean, you don't see as many young lads playing snooker these days as they used to be. A lot of Asian snooker players coming through, I've noticed. So maybe the game is massively taken off over in the Asian continent. I don't know. How much are those domain names nowadays, Craig? It depends on what you want. I suppose you can get them from 99 cent up to 20 quid, I suppose, give or take, depending on which one you want. I think the one I bought last night cost me around a tenner. Maybe a little bit under, a little bit over, depending on tax. I can't remember exactly, but it was fairly cheap. It was around a tenner anyway. Don't forget the Cookie Monster onesie at Christmas, Stephen. Don't you worry, mate. As soon as I get that motherfucker, it'll be on. If it fits. It has to fit, because I'm not going to come on here like the Incredible fucking Hulk. But if it fits, you know I'm coming on here rocking a Cookie Monster onesie. Ain't no surer thing than that, buddy. Klein deserves a chance, said Cameron. Anyone got any inside thoughts on the whole Klein thing? Anyone got any theories? And try to stay away from drugs, because it's not fair to put that up, because we've no idea about that. We know that we've heard the stories about it. It's bullshit as far as we're aware. But has anybody got any other theories? Is his injury perhaps worse than we were led to believe? But if it was, you would imagine he'd been moved on. I'm genuinely baffled at the whole Kleiny situation, because he's a very good footballer. Play Alisson, Shaqiri and Keita to teach the others a lesson, says Rod. Just the three of them. You have to have 7 on the field, Rod, by the way. Anything under than 7 and the game will be abandoned by the referee. Hello all you beautiful bunch of people. How are we this evening, said Christopher. I am tickety fucking boo, mate. How are you? Thank you for joining in, Christopher. Always a pleasure, buddy, to have you with us, whether that be on Twitter or on here, buddy. I'm going to keep saying buddy. Maybe I can smash the world record for the amount of times I say buddy on a stream. Hit the motherfucking like button, said Stephen. Smash the like button, said Louise. There you go. I mean, what more incentive would you like? You've got a couple there. A good lady and a good fella both telling you to smash that like button. Guys, we're very close to 4,500 subscribers as well. So if you're watching or you're in the background there and you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, hit that button please, because we're about to pass 4.5k and that means a lot to us. Next stop 5k, which was our season's target. And fingers crossed we smash that as well. This is the type of game to play Keita. Take him off and bring Jones on because he's just back from a foot injury, said Scotty99. I really want to see Naby Keita at the weekend, Scotty. Really, really, really want to see him. When we went through the midfield situation over the past couple of weeks, I kept forgetting. At the back of my mind, I kept forgetting about Keita. I don't know why. As I said, I have him on the back of my shirt this year. He's the player, one of the players I was most excited about signing. And maybe it's just because we haven't seen him at his best yet. But I really, really want him to play the weekend. I want him to get his name on the score sheet. And I want him to reintroduce himself to the Liverpool fan base. Wilson must have an amazing attitude to continuously go on loan and play so well. Doesn't let it faze him. That's true. That is very true. Very well said, Mr. RJC. You've got to have a thick neck, I suppose, or thick skin, I should say, to make it as a professional footballer, don't you? To be that less than 1% of the players that make it through. Wilson will be class for somebody. I reckon it won't be Liverpool, said Brian. Yeah, them young players was good in pre-season, said Tony. They really were. Very, very good. I remember looking at the size of Nat Phillips in Dublin in the game against Napoli and just didn't realise quite how big a young man he was. I also want to see Caoimhín Kelleher progress as well. Obviously a little bit biased in that sense, him being Irish and a goalkeeper, but I'd love to see Liverpool have an Irish goalkeeper as the backup at least. What's going to happen with Solanke? $64 million question, mate. I don't know. He's not getting much this season, is he? Anybody got any thoughts on that one? What would you like to see happen with Solanke? There's only so long we can keep saying he's young, he'll get better. But if that's to happen, he has to play. And if he's not going to play at Liverpool, then surely that means he'd have to go out on loan and play. He has it in him. I think the young man definitely has it in him. He's definitely a Premier League footballer. I just don't know if he'll ever reach the level for Liverpool that we want. But I hate writing people off, particularly at his age. It's just not right to write him off, I think. But it's also not right for him not to play. Suso was always our best player in pre-season, said Brian. He scored actually tonight for AC Milan. I think they drew 1-1 away at Real Betis. Well, it was 1-1 last I checked, and Suso scored for them. I prefer Wilson over Origi, said Cameron. As would I. 100%. All day. I'm done with Divock Origi at Liverpool. I mean, I said that at the start of the season. I would have moved him on. I don't understand why he's still around. His contract runs down. Just move him on. I just don't understand why. He's not going to make it at Liverpool. I don't care what anybody says. Nobody's going to convince me of that anyway. And not that anybody has to convince me of it. I just can't see a way that Divock Origi is ever going to cut the mustard at Liverpool. I think he's already had his best patch and it still wasn't good enough. But I do think he will be a good footballer. I think Divock Origi won't peak till 26, 27 years of age, maybe even 28 when he fills out more, and you'll see a Didier Drogba-esque type footballer, although probably not at the same level. Harry Wilson would need a decent pre-season. Curtis Jones is ready now, said Stephen Richards. Fekir had a stormer last night, Craig. Them knees look grand to me, mate. I was thinking the very same thing. I was thinking, not a fucking bother out with his knees. He's looking tickety-boo. He played very well. I watched the game. He glided around the field. He just looks like class, doesn't he? Yeah, it is tough. When you see him playing well, it's tough to watch because you just think that could have been in a fucking red shirt. He was technically in a fucking red shirt, but I mean, with the photo, I don't mean last night with Leon, they were playing in white, but yeah, it's tough, man. It's really tough. A lot of people holding out a lot of faith or a lot of belief that he's going to come in January. I've seen a few people saying that maybe a deal will be done in January for next summer, and them stories are starting to do the rounds, and no doubt between now and January we'll hear a lot more about Nabil Fekir. That's not going to go away. There's no way the media are going to let it lie anyway. Wilson has talent, but is it enough for our first team? He'll either be a top player or an average Premier League striker, in my opinion, said Kigby. Seeing some of them goals he got this year, he scored some absolute beauties, hasn't he? The free kick against United. Oh, Jesus. That was dirty. That was dirty stuff. We've proved we can win games with a good performance, such as West Ham, Palace, Spurs, Saints, Cardiff. Yeah, Spurs is the only one of those that really jumps out. West Ham were so poor at the start of the season. Palace, yeah, do you know what? Palace were a decent enough side actually. I remember a lot of our fans were very impressed with Wan-Bissaka after that game against Palace. Saints and Cardiff though, it's tough to kind of give ourselves any credit against Saints and Cardiff, like about beating Southampton and Cardiff. We should be doing that. Please do not speak bad about Origi. We do not like that or want to hear that, Mr. RJC. Whoops. Then you're probably going to hate me, Ferno, because I'm not a big fan at all. What's happening with Solanke? He doesn't get enough game time. I think he should go on loan. Something has to happen with him. I just touched on it a moment ago, Cameron. It's shocking because Klopp kind of almost went out of his way to say that he wanted to keep him here because there were plenty of options for him in the summer. There were clubs in to take him on loan. Damo said, me too, Rod. I don't agree about all the negativity from the Anfield rap. We've proved we can win games with good performances. I've gone through that one. I prefer pool, said Stephen Richards. Nah, pool's nah. You can get lucky playing pool. You can't get lucky playing snooker. And crackers. Right, please come on, like the Hulk. That would be amazing. Fuck, it's City ain't winning the league, said Ben. Fuck it, they're not winning the league, Ben. You're right. We're winning the fucking league, and that's the end of it. We'll hear no more about it. The gavel has been put down. Liverpool are winning the league. That's the end of it. Me and PC Benjamin have nailed that one now. We've boxed it off for you. So you don't even need to worry about it. just show up in May and get ready for the parade. I'd like to see Milner play on Sunday, said Scotty. I've heard that conversation a lot today. A lot of people saying he's undroppable at this point, James Milner. For me, something has to budge in the midfield. Something has to fucking change. Because we can't just have constant industry in there. We need a spark from somewhere in this team. We need some creativity. We just need something to happen. I don't know if this is going to be a moment within a game where perhaps we get a decision that we don't agree with, and the crowd gets behind the players and everybody feels unjust and everyone feels pissed off, and that clicks us into life. It could be a great tackle from Robbo. Something needs to happen this year that clicks this fucking team into action, because we haven't been ourselves, but we've still done very fucking well. We just haven't been ourselves. When you change the green screen, could you put a Buddy neon light in the background with first chav? I'm going to change the green screen in a while, actually. Well, I say in a while, I don't mean tonight, like, but there's a few images I want to play around with. But yeah, Buddy. A Buddy neon light, there you go. And Diet Chav. I have my Diet Chav here though, of course, just in case you're in any doubts. Craig Louise said she'll challenge anyone to a game of pool. She was a champion at her kids club. Pool's a lucky fucking sport. I don't like pool. Don't like pool one bit. I'm definitely a snooker man. Table tennis. Everybody likes to think they're good at table tennis as well. Me included, until you actually play someone that's good at table tennis, then you realise quite how shit you are. Brian said, I don't get Solanke. Someone called him the human final whistle recently. I'd go with that. You've got me stumped, Brian, mate. I don't know what to say. He's a bit of an enigma at the moment at Liverpool Football Club. If he's not playing, how is he going to progress? I don't know, man. You've got me stumped. I fully am behind the thought process to loan him out. If he's not going to get game time, you've got to loan him out, surely. What good is it just keeping him around? He's not going to progress on the training pitch. Yes, he might get used to our system a little bit better, but at the end of the fucking day, he needs to be putting the ball in the back of the net. Putting the ball in the back of the net will give him more confidence than anything else. Curtis Jones did look the business. Solanke should get sold, said Ferno. Just never impressed me apart from the Brighton game. So glad he got his Premier League goal though. So fucking glad he got that goal. Kelleher was called up to the full Ireland squad. He'll be having the crack with Roy Keane. I seen that, so congratulations to Caoimhín Kelleher. Just in case anybody ever wondered about how you pronounce his first name, it is Caoimhín Kelleher. Caoimhín is the Irish for Kevin, so his name's actually Kevin Kelleher, but it's Caoimhín is how it's pronounced. See, he gets all fucking cocky on here when he's talking about Irish names because he knows he can pronounce them. Comes on talking about Asian names, African names, Middle Eastern names, and I'm all apologetic saying I'm sorry if I mispronounce it. But the Irish names comes up and he goes, oh, you big fucking bald Irish twat coming on here with your cocky attitude. It's Caoimhín this and Kelleher that and Usheen this and Tomas that. As good as Firmino is, it'd be great to get a real goal scorer. Even City play with a real out and out poacher. Who would you go for? I wouldn't. That's the funny thing, Neil. I wouldn't. I think Firmino is exactly what we need. The problem for us is that we're not getting the avalanche of goals from Mo Salah and perhaps from Mane that we would hope for, or that we got last season. Now, when I say we got last season, I don't know where he was at this stage. I think Mo Salah's not too far off his goal scoring tally, but I think that's the problem here. It's not that we're missing these opportunities. It's not that we haven't got a fox in the box or we haven't got a number 9 to get in on the end of things. We're just not really fucking creating that much at the minute. And that's the worrying thing. If the situation was that we were creating opportunities and missing a shitload, I think a lot of us would be a lot calmer, because we would see that it just takes one or two things to change or one thing to go right, somebody to go on a bit of a streak, and everybody will feel better. But when you're not creating as much as we should be, when that link isn't there, when for me we're seeing far too many long balls, both up the line and diagonal, and I know I keep mentioning this every night, but I cannot understand it. I can understand it against some teams in a specific way to take pressure off or to try and pen teams in. But it seems to be every single game at this point. We're just doing the same thing. Hitting diagonal balls into Mane and Salah, who are getting outnumbered, nobody's making runs to back them up, and we're turning over possession. And then when we're in possession, we're passing the ball from Andy Robertson right across to Trent via the centre backs, going back and across, back and across, back and across, all game. We finally get an overload down the side, and then we'll cut back in instead of going down the line. Either Trent or Robbo will cut back in on themselves, and then it'll start all over again. We'll give them a chance to set, and there's just no surprise. There's no little balls around the corner. There's no runs to the back post, diagonal balls across the box. These are things that actually Jordan Henderson is capable of doing, believe it or not. People might think I'm mad, but think back. How many times have we seen Henderson play a ball from deep towards the back post to a Mo Salah run? Or to Daniel Sturridge, over the top towards Daniel Sturridge. We're just lacking that at the minute, and I don't know if that's because of something that Klopp has told them to do. Clearly it is. I mean, they're going to be following instructions. If they weren't following instructions, Klopp wouldn't be playing them. I just don't know what those instructions are at this moment in time. Ferno said Origi's only 23. Maybe if he gets a chance this season when our front three ain't performing, he will be class like he was in 15-16 when he scored the hat-trick against Southampton. He wasn't class. I think that was his best season, mate, and he scored 11, I think, if memory serves correct. To say he was class is a little bit over the top. Decent is more where I'd go. But he hasn't shown that since. He didn't show that when he went out on loan. He just hasn't progressed, mate, as far as I can see. And I don't know if it's a confidence thing with him. Somebody said there's something, I read something somewhere where somebody was questioning his mentality. And that's very unfair, I think, to do to somebody at 23. But at the same time, if you're a coach and you can see that in the big occasions he isn't quite there, he isn't quite as sharp, or he's got some nerves, they see that a lot clearer than we would as fans. So I don't know, I don't like to talk down about anybody, any footballer at the club, but Origi for me, I don't think is going to cut it at Liverpool. We took a chance buying a young player who done quite well, played in a tournament for Belgium, paid decent money for him, left him for a season on loan in France. That didn't go well. He came to Liverpool, he had a decent enough time here, but then the manager didn't fancy him, put him out on loan. The loan didn't work out. Now he's back at the club, and the only reason that he's still here, if we're being honest with ourselves, is because nobody paid the 20 million quid that Liverpool were asking for him. There was a hope that maybe Valencia, I think, were in from at one point. There was talk of a move to Turkey, if memory serves, and maybe even Newcastle. Was it Newcastle who were in for him, or was it him, or was that Ings? Could have been Danny Ings, actually. But that's the only reason he's here, that nobody paid the 20 million quid Liverpool were asking for him. I believe the players are shit scared of making mistakes. Klopp seems to bollock players during the game. The lads must have Klopp shouting and angry in their heads during games. I don't know, I never really thought about that, Wayne. We all, I suppose, like to think of Klopp as the Klopp that's giving hugs and patting people on the back and smiling, but yeah, you're right, he does bollock people during games. Now, I think it's a bit naive of us that we wouldn't believe it. If Klopp, seeing that this was damaging the players, he would change things around a bit. I know different players react to different things. Different players are stimulated by different things. Some need an arm around the shoulder, some need a bollocking. Some need to have something pointed out to them. Somebody might need to have something shown to them on video. Somebody else might need the captain to come and have a word with them. I mean, we're all different people, so different things work for different players. But yeah, you're right. It might also be the same thing, that a bollocking is getting to some of them, but it doesn't excuse all of them. And Klopp must be frustrated. I mean, if he has his plans drawn up, and he's brought in the players that he wanted, and he's seen the way we played last year, and he thinks he's bringing in players to improve the squad, and he's not getting the performances that he knows the lads are capable of, or that he's seen in training week in, week out, he's obviously going to get a bit frustrated as well. Now, at the same time, Jurgen Klopp hasn't been faultless this season. There's a couple of things you can question about his decision making. You can talk about his substitution timings, you can talk about his team selections. As you would with any manager, by the way. I'm not having a go at Kloppo. Love Kloppo. But it is an interesting point that you raised, Wayne. So well in, mate. Don't you just fucking hate it when your phone dies midstream? Never happens, buddy. Phone's always here, ready to go beside me. My phone never goes below 50% in life, ever. And the car never goes below 50% full of petrol either. Well, diesel actually. Because I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if there wasn't half a tank of diesel in the car. In case there was an emergency and I had to go somewhere. That's how fucked up my brain is. Right, Damo reports saying England and Nigeria looking at him too. And not looking to go down the Rice and Grealish road again. Yeah, don't even talk. Don't even get me fucking started on international football, guys. We're trying to be positive here. So who's got some good news for me? Who's got some positive thoughts ahead of the game at the weekend? Anybody? It's time for us to have a laugh. Let's relax, kick back, and just assume that Liverpool are going to show up at the weekend against Fulham and be the Liverpool we're all hoping and expecting. Let's just go with that for a few minutes and enjoy ourselves and have a bit of fucking fun. It's been heavy this week between the Manchester City stuff and between the bad performances, the Red Star game. Actually, I want to get that Red Star game, and if anyone knows what Room 101 is, I'm sure any UK or Irish based people probably know what Room 101 is. I want to get that game and put it into Room 101, pull that fucking lever and just have it disappear. They just put the price on him up, playing if he played good at Man United or Man City, we'll try and rob him. Don't see him coming to us. Nobody would like, or even though I'd like him to. Solanke's a very good player. We'll have him at Goodison. How much would you take? Said Gareth Phillips. 20 million. Or Solanke. I don't know, mate. You'd have to ask Kloppo what the going rate is for a Dominic Solanke. But there's no way he's going to Everton. There's no way we'd sell him to Everton. Feel bad taking Everton's money. I mean, we know you guys can't afford it, to be fair, so it would just be like we're standing or pissing on the neighbours. You don't do that. You know, we try to be nice to our neighbours, Gareth. And anyway, Gareth, on a serious note, mate, you being an Everton fan and all, how are you feeling about the game at the weekend? Do you think you can get anything? I'm hoping that you guys can put in a performance and get something. It's Chelsea you're away at, isn't it? Do us a fucking favour, mate. Will you go and take a point or something off them? Solanke, Origi, Lallana and Sturridge all gone next year, I reckon, said Brian Morrissey. Markovic and Sturridge out of contract. A lot of money on the or off the wage bill for no first team impact. Markovic has been an out and out failure, unfortunately. But that was the thing. I think we have to be fair about the time where Markovic was brought in and Origi was brought in. Liverpool were at a stage in the progression there where we hadn't got a manager like Klopp who could attract in the names that he could. Even when Klopp came in, Liverpool weren't, Champions League quality yet. We weren't doing what we do season in, season out now. But he was still able to attract players because of the pulling power of him and what he'd achieved as a manager and his personality. But if you look at the likes of Divock Origi and Markovic, the club were having to roll the dice to an extent. And we were having to hope that we buy these players one stage earlier in their career or in their development and that they work out. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. It happened with Coutinho, happened with Daniel Sturridge. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. And it didn't happen with these guys. And you just have to accept that. And the club will have lost money. The club will be paying wages out. But if it had paid off, if Markovic had have hit the ground running, if Markovic had turned out to be a superstar, we'd be sitting here saying what a steal he was. So you got to take the good with the bad in these situations. But right now, I think we're buying a different calibre of player. And we're seeing much more positive results with the players that are coming in with regards to the lack of failures, if you want to say failures, or the lack of players who haven't quite acclimatised to the club. Like, we can't talk about this season's players because they're only, 4 or 5 months into their Liverpool careers. Snooker. Loopy nuts are you, Craig. Snooker's brilliant. Much better than pool. Pool's the game that you play when you're out on a date with a bird and you want to basically get a feel of her arse. And you just say, no, love, you're holding the cue all wrong. Let me show you how you do that. That's basically what I think pool is. Whereas snooker is where you're playing with the lads and there's a few quid on it. Or you're on a mitch from school. and you want somewhere where you'll be out of the way, and you know there's a bit of bad lighting in there, and you'd be able to sit there, have a crafty cigarette, or sneak in a can or two, sit in the snooker club and have an old drink. That's the difference for me between the two. Solanke should go to a West Brom or a Sheffield United, said Ferno. James Shield said, is Chamberlain a bigger miss than we first thought, and do we correct this come January with Fekir away for Ox? Mate, he is a big miss. You're right, you've hit the nail on the head there. He's a massive miss. He isn't quite the 10 in the, I suppose, in the Coutinho sense of the word, but what he was a dynamic runner, and he brought pace to their attack. He could run at different angles. He could open up space for players. So him running into space was opening up space for Salah to make runs, was opening up space for Bobby Firmino to drag another defender out of the way. He wasn't afraid to take a shot, which was seen from his goals against Manchester City as well. And he just brought that dynamism, that energy, that power that lifted everybody else around him. It lifted us as a fan base looking at him. We all fell in love with the guy, let's be honest. Well, anybody I know that, you know, spoke about Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain only had good things to say about him. So yes, it was a massive loss. Massive loss. I mean, he would have been tremendous to have for that Champions League final. Whether you correct that in January or not away from is another decision. Him coming back from the injury that he's coming back from, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough. Some players never get back to the same level. Some players don't trust their body as much. Some players try and reinvent themselves and change their style of play. So in the long term, I'd like to see us add somebody, but not to replace him, because I think Oxlade-Chamberlain will always have a place at the club. But I think we do need to supplement that position, and we do need the 10 regardless. So whether that's Fekir, whether that's Christian Pulisic, whether that's somebody else, for me, we do need the 10. But I'm pessimistic of it happening in January. I don't know. I just think, especially Fekir, I've said this all along, I've tried to be consistent. I just felt if that one didn't happen in the summer, I don't know why it would suddenly happen in January. Unless Klopp has somebody else up his sleeve that none of us know about, which isn't completely out of the question. Craig, not feeling the best. I'll say good night, see you tomorrow. Mate, thank you for joining us as always. Hope you feel better. And don't ever push yourself, mate. If you're not feeling well, head off, get some rest. Yeah, let me know you're okay anyway tomorrow, Stephen, mate, when you get some rest. But thank you for joining us as always. Did you hear the news, Craig? Bayern is in for Fekir and so is Chelsea. We should try again in January. I said that to you guys a couple of weeks ago, Tony. I said that I'd read an article that said that Bayern Munich had inquired about Nabil Fekir and that they were told the price was 70 million. I didn't know if it was true. I didn't know if it was just more fucking transfer talk. But, you know, Bayern Munich aren't having a great season. That's pretty clear. Whether they're going to back the manager and try and give him some money to spend, I don't know. Chelsea, I can't see it happening. But why can't I see it happening? Maybe I'm just being hopeful that he won't go to another Premier League club. I don't know. Bayern Munich I would have a genuine worry about, but I would rather he went to Bayern Munich than Chelsea, obviously. But if we should try again in January or not, I don't know, because I want to know the reason why we didn't buy him. That's the thing. If the reason we didn't buy him was because of the fucking medical, then you'll never go back for him, because you're never going to be confident that the player that you have is going to cope. Now, a club like Manchester United, possibly Chelsea, maybe Manchester City, they can afford to possibly take a risk on a luxury player like that. And if it doesn't work out, or they get a year or two out of him, then they might be able to underwrite that. But a club in our position can't really take that big of a risk. So if it was the medical that stopped us from signing him, I don't see that changing. And with interest in him from other clubs, we're not going to get a better deal, or we're not going to get a more beneficial deal sheet from Lyon. So I don't know, man. No, I just don't see it happening. I hope to God I'm wrong. I would love for it to be wrong. I would love to nothing to do with the medical that he failed. I'd love it for it to be something else completely. and that was ironed out, and that this deal was already done. This was already in the bag, a la Virgil van Dijk, and the club had said nothing about it. And then it was announced. He's standing there beside the Christmas tree like Virgil van Dijk was last year. That would make me fucking delighted. Griezmann, I don't want that little gobshite anywhere near our club, Brian. Nah, he's a fucking selfish little shit. An overrated selfish little shit as well, if I might add. I think he is... I mean, if I was an Atletico fan, the shit he pulled at Manchester or with Barcelona, I wouldn't want to see that little fucker anywhere near the club if I was an Atletico fan. 2 seasons ago, probably would have said, yeah, Griezmann is definitely the style of footballer that would suit our system. Although, so I would have probably said Timo Werner last summer, so maybe Timo Werner would be the answer. I just don't like Griezmann as a person, mate, so not that I know. I mean, I'm not going for a point with him. He didn't, he did not pay for his round or anything. It was nothing like that. I just don't like that shit he pulled in the summer with Barcelona. Would you consider Firmino dropping back into midfield? Why do we say Firmino? It's Firmino, Craig. Get it right. Firmino. Would you consider Firmino dropping back to midfield like you did for Hoffenheim and a new striker up front? Yeah, probably. As long as Firmino's in the fucking team. Yeah, let's say we drop him back, okay? Let's have this conversation, Connor. So we drop Firmino back and we have Johnny Alderweireld up front, playing up front for us as a striker. So you've brought in Johnny Alderweireld and then you've got Mo Salah and Sadio Mane, Bobby Firmino. Do you need a 10 then? Do you still go looking for a 10, or have you put all your eggs in Johnny Alderweireld's basket? That's what my worry would be. Adding another striker in is grand, but if we're not getting the link to him, then it's still not going to be worth a shit. That's my worry. I don't think our worry at the minute is that we're not scoring goals because we haven't got a 9. I think we're not scoring goals because we haven't got a 10. And because the front 3 aren't the same as they were last year yet. But I'd rather the 10 than Johnny Alderweireld, if that makes any sense. We need to stick up things in midfield. I put in Keita, Shaqiri and Fabinho. Won't know till you try. I'd love for us to go balls out once. Just fucking why not? Just go balls out. And just say, right, Fabinho, you're there. You're in the 6. Everybody else, swarm all over Fulham. Attack, attack, attack. Go at them. They're going to shit themselves. And they're already in a very precarious... Precarious? Is that even a word? They're already in a very precarious, is the word I was looking for, position in the league. The manager's under pressure. They're going to try and sit back. Just swarm all over them. I would have those guys wound up and ready to go out in that field. Tell them to play, express themselves, try the little flicks, do everything they want to do, fill them full of belief. Tell Fabinho that he can cope with anything that comes back. He can deal with that himself with that back 4. They don't need to worry about Mitrovic or Fulham breaking. They don't need to worry about Sessegnon. They don't need to worry about Tom Carney. Any of that stuff. Just go out there, guys, do your fucking thing and be 3-0 up by half time. That's what I'd be saying to the guys. Now, I'm not Jurgen Klopp, but I hope to God we see something along those lines at the weekend. A bit of a balls out performance, a bit of a balls out team selection every now and again doesn't do any harm. Tony Kelly said, it's funny how there was a few clubs in for Origi, and since Belgrade game when he came on the last few minutes there's no interest anymore. I think the clubs that were in though were put off by the price tag. 20 million is, apparently it was just that or nothing for Liverpool. They weren't willing to negotiate on the fee. It was 20 million or nothing, which is weird. Especially if his contract is his contract up this summer, or has he got 18 months left? Brian, did I see you said earlier on that his contract was up in the summer? Because I was of that belief as well, but when I heard Liverpool were asking 20 million for him, I was thinking to myself, could they really ask that much if his contract's up in the summer? Ferno said, I think Funes Mori, the cunt, shatters Origi's confidence. That was a disgusting tackle by Funes Mori. He's a little scumbag. And you're right, that happened at a point where Origi was playing his best football. No arguments there, buddy. Possibly. I guess none of us will ever know. But it was a despicable act by that little shit. He was awful as a footballer as well, by the way. Funes Mori was a terrible footballer. I think even Gareth, in his, with his blue tinted glasses on, will admit that Funes Mori was fucking shite. What do you think will happen in the Champions League final in 2020 in Istanbul? You know what? You want to think we're there, don't you? What I know will happen is that they finally fucking finish the stadium. If you guys see the difference between the Ataturk Stadium now and the Ataturk Stadium when we played there in 2005, they finally fucking finished it. So what will happen is you'll have a better stadium. But how beautiful would it be to celebrate that 15-year anniversary by going back to Istanbul? It would be a damn nice story. It really would. I'm hoping, mate. I'm hoping. I'm a romantic on some things like that. Yeah, it'd be damn nice, wouldn't it? Robbie Hanna has joined. Robbie, how are you? Thank you for joining us, mate. And guys, don't forget to drop a like on the stream, by the way. If you haven't done so already, it only takes a second. It means the world to us. And of course, to anybody else that hasn't yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button. There's still a few clubs that need goals, like Newcastle and Crystal Palace, said Tony. He was a good Everton striker. Who was this? Bob Latchford? Never heard of him. Wolves offered 25 million for Origi, but he wanted to stay at the club and prove himself, I think. If Wolves had offered... Well, do you know what? If Wolves had offered 25 million, Liverpool would have bitten their hand off. But as you said, maybe it wasn't Liverpool's choice. If Origi decided he wanted to stay, then, the player's perfectly within his rights to do that. Especially if his fucking contract is up at the end of the season. I mean, he can look ahead and think, right, well, if I don't prove myself, then at least I can go on a free and get a good signing on contract somewhere else. Buying these young lads like Origi and hope will then turn into world beaters is a role transfer strategy. See also Coates. He played tonight actually, didn't he, for Sporting. He still looks weird. He still looks laboured. He still looks too tall and gangly. But you're right, mate. That was our old transfer policy. That was the Brendan Rodgers era of transfers, when you couldn't attract in the names. And you had to roll the dice and hope that they came good. Arsenal put 5 past Fulham. We need to do the same. Man City, I think, put 3 and Chelsea put 2. Yeah, do you know what, mate? Fuck it, we do. We need to go out and put 3, 4 or 5 past them and make a statement. It would be so nice to head into the international break off the back of an absolute whooping. And I like Fulham. I really want Fulham to stay up. But I also want Liverpool to hit form, so obviously I want them to get a kicking. But I do like Fulham as a club. Keita to have ball against Fulham and properly announce himself. Wouldn't it be sweet, Brian? Wouldn't it be fucking sweet for Keita to get a goal? I cannot wait. I hope he plays. I really hope he starts. Again, if you haven't given us your team for the weekend, guys, or for Sunday, put it in. Let me know what you're thinking. Any changes to the back four, and what midfield would you go with? What was the matter with Owen's neck? He had to turn his whole body to talk on BT. I haven't got a clue. I don't watch anything Michael Owen is on. Not because of any hatred towards him, because his voice just does my fucking head and he's so dull. Fulham are bottom and have conceded 29 goals. Surely this will be a big score. I'm going for 7-0, said Neil. Yeah, the manager has stuck to his guns there. He really just has decided that they're playing in that style and they're going forward and they're taking chances and it's just not paying off for them. Anthony Peters said, on a positive note, Craig, I've got a queue of 3 in the supermarket today. I got in a queue of 3 in the supermarket today. That's gone way over my head, Anthony. I mean, if I showed up to a supermarket and there was 3 people ahead of me, I'd be pretty pissed off. I'd be looking around hoping somebody opened another checkout. 3? Jesus, that's not great at all. Bad fun. What supermarket was this? Did expect better than that. Over in America, by man, it's a different fucking ball game altogether. We queued up for half an hour in what's that supermarket called? Walmart one night. Half an hour. Queuing up for half an hour to give these bastards my money. Queuing up to hand people money. Madness altogether. Everton fans would piss all over us if they could, said Tony. I'm sure they would, and I'm sure it's vice versa as well. Solanke will never succeed at Liverpool, in my opinion, said Ferno. Hoping Liverpool really turn it on against Fulham and score a load of goals so that Ryan Sessegnon fancies playing for Klopp when Fulham get relegated. He hasn't had the season so far that many had, including me, would have thought that he would have had. He was a phenomenal player last year for Fulham. Absolutely unbelievable. Now I know it was the Championship, you know it's a different league, and he's still very, 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 very young, and I'm judging him at the very highest level here. I hope we go for him. I'd love to get him in. Oh, he'd be brilliant. I have a funny feeling he's going to end up with Spurs. Don't know why. He was linked there, so there is a link. I'm not just pulling Spurs out of my arse, but he just seems more of a Spurs player to me. I hope I'm wrong though, because he's an excellent footballer. I love the slide tips, Craig. I don't know what that means. Slide tips, mate, you've lost me. Have I given out betting tips or something here that I've missed? Does anyone think Markovic will go down as a Liverpool club stalwart? Pass, Mr. RJC, pass. Right, what else have we got before we finish up tonight? Has anybody got any questions that I've missed? Tom said, but Craig, what is it with these players like Lazar and the likes that just stop training or just giving up? You'd imagine that they're doing the bare minimum. They'd have to be training, they'd have to be showing up, they'd have to be fulfilling their contracts. And if they're doing that, then, you know, they're not doing nothing wrong, mate. It is what it is. I mean, the club have chosen not to play him. The club have chosen, well, they didn't choose not to loan him out, to be fair, because he was supposed to have gone. I still don't understand why that deal didn't happen. There was a lot of conjecture around it. He was saying one thing, the club were saying another thing, the buying club were saying another thing. But he will be gone in the next window. He has to be gone. Thought you were talking about pace and power and he was still talking about Markovic. Then you said Oxlade-Chamberlain. Yeah, definitely would be talking about Markovic. I think we're holding our fingers too much for Chamberlain to be the same player as last season, but I think he'll still be a key player for us. It's so tough, so tough to come back from that. Is that his second one, by the way? Has he done a cruise ship before, or am I completely off with that? What's scary is that it's worse than we were originally told. That's what really frightens me. And I know that cruciates can be fixed a lot better these days than in the past, but it's a hell of an injury. Anyone who suffered with a cruciate will know. Just even to get back walking or get back putting weight on it, it's tough. Now, I've never had one, but I've had friends that have done them, and I've seen the physio and the rehab that they've had to go through just to get back to normality or just to get back jogging again. So I can only imagine, you know, the work and the pain that Ox will have to go through to get back. And fingers crossed he does, because we all love him and we all want him back and we all want him to hit his peak, and we want to stick two fucking fingers up to those cocky Arsenal fans that think we were robbed when we paid 40 million for him, because do you know what, I think we definitely got the better end of that deal. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's a tremendous young man. We're all terrified he'll go to England and tear it up with regards to Fekir, said Brian. Damn right. And with good reason though. He's an excellent footballer. That's the thing. Nobody was doubting his ability. When we were talking about him in the summer, people like me were saying, well look, if the club thinks there's something wrong with his medical, I fully backed them in the decision, and that I think the club are making the decision that they believe is safest for Liverpool Football Club. But nobody that I know of was saying that he wasn't good enough. And that is the fear. The fear is that he shows up for Chelsea or he shows up for somebody else and starts tearing it up. Craig, I don't think it was about his knee. I think he fucked around with the chairman to try and lower the price and he said no. If that was the case though, you would just go back. The only reason they would have fucked around with the price was probably because of what the medical uncovered. But look, again Tony, it's just conjecture, mate. None of us really know. So you could be right, I could be completely wrong. Rod, enjoy your shopping, mate. I mean, treat yourself. Get something nice. Get yourself a treat, something sweet for the day, buddy. Looking forward to the article, by the way, Rod, as is Connor. And Rod, we must have a catch-up call, mate. There's a few things I want to run through with you. A few ideas and stuff, so we'll organise that over the coming week or two, if that's okay, buddy. Even longer, I mean, no pressure, whenever you're available. And Raptor, mate, I feel like we need to catch up as well. I want to let you know about what the new projects myself and Connor are dreaming up. So, again, must organise a call there, buddy. If we're to get a striker, I would get Timo Werner. We could get him for 60, 65, I'd say. I think I've said this before. I just have a feeling he's going to end up at Bayern Munich. Unless he doesn't hit the level that they're hoping for. But I just always felt, you know, young German talent like that. And with Lewandowski looking to move on. And, you know, being pretty blatant about the fact that he wants to move on. It always seemed like a good fit that he'd go there. Yes, Liverpool could possibly go top on Sunday, but for me the match against Fulham is a good way for Liverpool to get up the goal difference. Going top would be nice. I mean, the good thing, I suppose, I've moaned about the early kickoff, but if you get the result, then the good thing is you've done your job. You've put the pressure back on to Manchester City and Chelsea and Spurs and everybody else to go get results. What do you think is going to happen with Mystic Mig? I'd like to see him moved on. And I'd like to see Caoimhín Kelleher get promoted up to the backup goalkeeper, to the number 2. But I don't think we'll see him moved on until the summer, personally. I don't want to see us bring in anybody. I want one of our young goalkeepers to get promoted to the second choice. Other words, I don't understand why we even have goalkeepers in the system if you're not going to give them a chance at any point. Anthony's team is Alisson, Gomez, Lovren, Van Dijk, Robbo. Midfield of Fabinho, Hendo and Keita. And then a front three of Shaqiri, Bobby and Mane. So dropping Firmino to the bench for that one. I think you might get a few people to agree, mate. Again, Firmino hasn't been the Bobby Firmino we all know and love yet. But fingers crossed, the spark is coming. Fulham have played 3 different goalkeepers in the league this year and none of them are injured. Different back 4 almost every game too. They're all over the shop. Fingers crossed we give them a fucking kick in them, Brian. We need to... It'd be so nice, wouldn't it? Be nice to be sitting here with you guys on Sunday evening talking about, you know, a Mo Salah hat-trick or all the front 3 getting on the scoreboard. Oh, excuse me. What's your favourite mid-table team? Said Cass. Strength. Well, my favourite mid-table team are currently a bit lower down. Newcastle, for me, definitely the other team in the Premier League I'd look out for the results of, because of Rafa mainly, and because I like their fans. You can see that they're die-hard football fans, Newcastle fans. Yeah, fantastic fan base. I get pretty intense when I'm in a queue and my dog's outside barking his head off. I hate it, said Mr. RJC. I'm just an impatient bastard. I just don't like queuing. That's the truth. And in this day and age, thankfully, you can buy almost everything online, which is great. If Lazar scored in pre-season but he plays like an amateur, I'm actually better at football than him, and I'm not joking. There you go. Ferno putting his balls out there, saying he's better than Lazar Markovic. I do love a bit of confidence, mate, so I'm not going to knock you. Cask said, mine is Bournemouth this season. So fun to watch them play. They're doing really well. Yeah, it's a good show. They're doing really, really well. Interesting to see. Who are they playing this week, actually? They're Newcastle, aren't they? They're away at Newcastle, so it'll be interesting to see what way that game goes. Newcastle will be fighting for their lives, but Bournemouth will be full of confidence. And they're scoring goals as well. Wilson's playing really, really well for them this year. The Raffenite said, hey Craig, how's your evening gone? Been stressed all evening with my dog being ill. Good to be here. Sorry to hear about your dog, mate. I hope he's okay. I'm certainly a dog lover myself, so don't like to hear about your poor pooch being ill. Yeah, I hope he's okay. Do let me know. I hope it's nothing serious. And make sure you give him a treat or get him a nice new cuddly toy or something to relax with. Watched the players training today, all smiles, said Teo, which is great to hear, mate. There does seem to be a good bond in the team. You say that, like, the players do seem to be likeable lads. There does seem to be no prima donnas in this squad, which is great. So yeah, Teo, nice one. Great to see that the players were all smiles today training. Might be worth giving Ramsey a go. He can connect the midfield and attack. I was fucking wondering how long that was going to take before the conversation came around to Aaron Ramsey. Didn't play well tonight for Arsenal. Tried a few stupid things actually. He's very confident though. I heard the announcers on BT saying that he believes he'll go to a top European club when he leaves Arsenal. So let's just wait and see what happens there. I don't think he'll end up at Liverpool personally. He's capable of doing good things, but if Arsenal fans are happy to an extent to get rid of him, and none of them wanted him to get the money that he wanted. None of the people that I've seen anyway. So that kind of tells you something about his consistency. But then again, we've seen Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain come on leaps and bounds under Jurgen Klopp. So tough one. I mean, there's a shout there, isn't there? There's a shout there to say, if you can't get Fekir, you bring him in to bridge that time with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, and then you've got both. I can understand the argument for it, but I'd rather us just go and get a Fekir or somebody personally. I think the days of us scraping around for deals like that should be over. And I know, actually, I'm saying that, and we went and got one this summer in Shaqiri, but that seems like something old Liverpool would do, or a Spurs might do. Maybe you see Aaron Ramsey popping up. Oh, can you imagine if he popped up at Spurs? The fucking hatred. He's better. He's asleep now, but he couldn't hold any water. Peeing in the house, nightmare, but I gave him another walk. Hopefully he's okay, mate, once he gets a rest. Somebody's talking about the Fekir. Brian said the Fekir deal went wrong because the previous operation he had in his knee wasn't done properly. It's basically a ticking time bomb. So we tried to knock a few quid off, and Johnny Cunty lost his shit. Yes, from my understanding of it at the time, Brian, as well, there's two ways that you can do an ACL. There's I don't know what they are. I think it's called an allograph and a something else graph. They're both called something graphs. And one way gets you back playing quicker, but it doesn't have as long of a lifespan before it has to be redone. The other way takes more rehab time, but in the industry it's believed that you get longer out of it. And I think that Fekir had the rush job to get him back playing quicker, I think. So you could be completely right there, Brian. I don't know what the other one is. It's an autograft or something, and something else. I can't remember what the other name is, but somebody explained it to me before, and like you've said, Brian, it does seem to be that he had the rush job, or the one that doesn't last as long. Team for the weekend for Christopher: Alisson, Gomez, Van Dijk, Lovren, Robbo, Fabinho, Keita, Shaqiri, Mane, Sturridge and Salah. Guys, before we head off tonight, we'll do a couple more minutes, but before we head off, don't forget, if you have any mates or anybody, word of mouth is massive for this as well. So let people know we exist. I'm sure you do it already, but we want to make that next push. We want to get past 4.5k. I love these little goals. I love reaching these little milestones. So if you have any friends, any Liverpool mates, you're in any chat rooms, let them know about us. Let them know about the watch-alongs on match days. Let them know about the shows every night. It means a lot to us, and thank you. If you're watching at the minute and you haven't subscribed, please do so. And of course, you legends that are on here every night, don't forget to hit the yellow like button before you head off. Tina Murphy said LFC wanted Leon to pay towards the insurance for Fekir as it was high due to his knee injury, but they said no, so we asked him to restructure the payment. That could well be true. I can't say yes, I can't say no, because I just don't know. I wonder will it ever come out? The real reason, will it ever come out as to why we didn't go ahead with that deal? I have a feeling we might go for Ramsey. Think about it, if Lallana goes, Klopp might want to bring him in. To be fair, Arsenal fans were laughing at us for signing Ox. They were, and they're a bunch of fucking idiots, because Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is an excellent footballer and he would do damage in that Arsenal team at the minute under Emery. It's just that he went stale. under Arsene Wenger. Look, the proof is in the pudding. We've seen how good he was for Liverpool before he picked up his injury. Nobody can argue that he hadn't progressed. He was playing amazing. People were, falling over themselves to compliment him. If we did sign Ramsey, it shows that Fekir's medical must have been shocking, said Mr. RJC. Again, I'll just go back to it, but I would fucking love to know why that deal didn't go ahead. It seems even a lot of the journalists were unsure, because some were saying one thing, some were saying another, and I know some would be briefed by Johnny Cuntylocks at Lyon, and some would be briefed by Liverpool, if they were being briefed. Actually, I don't know. So you will get contradicting stories, but around the Lyon thing, for me, the continental press, the European press, seemed to have their finger on the pulse a little bit more than the UK press with that transfer, or lack of transfer. My best mate is an Arsenal fan, and he always said Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is class, but as soon as he's flying, he always gets a knockback injury wise. He's a pessimistic cunt though. Yeah, he could be a fucking mystic cunt as well, Brian, if that's the case. But at least he had the good sense to admit that he's a class player. Some people are just injury prone though. It's tough. It is tough. Love Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, man. Absolutely love him. I was trying to show a few people the channel when I was pub last night. The Red Star Belgrade game was on. Use the moderator status. They love it, which is great, Mr. RJC. Thank you. I know we're often shown on match days over in Shankly's Bar in Salou, which is great. I often get a message from the guys over there to say that they use the watch-alongs as well for commentary and stuff, so that's brilliant. I've been in that bar. I love that bar over there in Salou, so when I was told that, it brought a real big smile to my face, because they're great lads over there. And if you've been to Salou, by the way, it's a great bar. Definitely check it out. Got the a model of the European Cup and all in there as well. Some great lads behind the bar as well. Just a great place if you're in Salou. Fekir is playing week in and week out. I don't get what the problem is. It's the risk, Tony. I think, as Brian was pointing out, he could be fine for 12 months. He could be fine for 18 months. But then his knee could completely just crumple again. If the procedure that was done was the lesser long term of the two, the one that gets you back playing quicker. If that was the case, then Liverpool might have just thought, we can't take that risk. We can't run the risk of him only lasting 12 or 18 months if we're going to be dropping 60 million. And then, of course, we have to think about Liverpool, the deal getting underwritten by an insurance company. Somebody has to look at this and go, yeah, that's okay. The insurance will cover that. We're happy to underwrite this. It's going to cost X amount. And, that could have been astronomical as well. So, the truth is, you just never know. L, how are you? The shortest name we've ever had on here, so nice one. L, great to have you on with us, thank you. The Manx were so lucky yesterday. They really were, but what do you say? They got the fucking points. They were battered for most of the match, but somehow left there with the 3 points, and that's football, I suppose. I don't want to give them fucking credit because, they're the Manx, but going to Turin and getting 3 points is a big result. No matter how they got it, it's a big result. But hello anyway, and welcome to the channel, mate. Great to have you with us. I hope you subscribe, by the way, but welcome anyway. The Shankly Hotel in Liverpool, Craig, is fantastic. Would recommend it. Stay every year near Christmas. I haven't stayed, but I've been inside the hotel, Paul, and it looks beautiful. Really is. Really well done hotel. The staff seem really nice as well, so I'd fully back you up on that one, Paul. Definitely a nice spot. I think, haven't they done a rooftop bar now as well in the Shankly? I'm fairly sure that they have. Have you ever been to the south of England, Craig? I haven't, no. Well, actually, does London count as the south? Because I was there for a very brief period. I was there for like a weekend, but down to Bournemouth, Portsmouth, anywhere like that, no. Southampton, never been down that neck of the woods. I liked what Mourinho did after the game. I seen that, and he said he did it because he was getting abused for 90 minutes. I don't know. What I liked about that game, Ferno, and I'm sure you guys noticed this as well, is Manchester United often like to believe that Ronaldo fucking loves them and that he's one of their own, and they call him Air Ronnie. He didn't half fucking celebrate when he scored against the Cunts, did he? He wasn't shy about letting them know that he was happy to score. That made me smile. If Fekir pushed us more for a challenge with City, I would really like us to risk it, but I get what you mean. Again, it could be the case that they just couldn't. Maybe the deal wouldn't be underwritten. Maybe the club would have taken the chance, but the insurance company just said, look, for us to take the risk on this, to guarantee it for 5 years, it's going to cost you, could be another, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 million, I don't know. I don't have any idea how much insurance costs for players. But maybe they just said we cannot underwrite that. That could have happened as well. Tina said, I went to Salou this year and we were playing the Champions League and they loved Liverpool, going again next year. It's great over there. Actually, to be honest, Tina, for me, I fucking hated Salou. I thought it was a kip. But the bar, Shankly's bar, was the highlight of Salou for me. Salou itself I didn't like. The only two good things about me being over there in Salou was I got to go to Shankly's bar, which was brilliant, and I went out to the new camp to see Barcelona playing Valencia. Other than that, I wasn't a fan of Salou personally. They do have a lovely place on the roof, said Paul. I remember them saying that they were building that, or them saying that they were building that. I didn't know if it was finished. Your next family holiday should be to Liverpool. Maybe blag the wife and trying to catch a game. There's no way she'd let me away with it. Liverpool as a family holiday, mate. We'll definitely go over. I mean, my kids have been to Liverpool already. Actually, no, sorry, Lucas hasn't been. Circa's been over there. Sabrina's been over there. I go over there quite a bit. Love the city. And definitely somewhere we'll go for a weekend as a family. But the next family holiday is looking like it's going to be Texas. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait to get over to Texas. That's where they decided the other day. Apparently there was a family vote and Texas is where we're going. So I just do what I'm told. I think Liverpool being smart and ruthless, said Brian. I'll take that over clown college we've had in the past. Yeah, true that, mate, true that. I can't believe he celebrated, said Ferno. I can, because he doesn't fucking love them cunts as much as they seem to love him. There's a guy in our Nordic Liverpool group that is a travel agent with tickets and he books hotels too. He released all the games to book at the start of every season. It will be really fun. That's brilliant. Nice. It's always good if you have somebody like that. That's class. Every time I go over to the Liverpool game, I always bump into a group of Scandinavian guys over there, or a group of guys from Norway or Sweden, and they really, really love the Reds, which is great to see. And if you do come over, let me know in advance. I would love to meet up with some of you guys at a game this year or next season. I mean, if anybody has spares, hit me up. I will come over for a fucking game, no problem. As will Connor. For us, it's just a matter of getting the tickets, but even if not, we could meet up for something. We could have an Anfield Agenda meet-up in the summer in Liverpool. We could do something, guys. It would be brilliant to meet you all for a pint, or a big group of you for something. We could organise a day out. We could do something mad. I don't know what that could be. We could do a live show. That's what me and Connor were saying before. We could just go over and get 30 or 40 of us in a room and just do, even if it's just 30 or 40 of us, we could do a little live show, record it, do a Q&A and just get to know everybody. It would be absolutely brilliant to do that. Obviously we wouldn't be fucking looking to make money or anything like that. It would all be completely free. It would just be great to meet everybody and do that and get all that filmed and get to shake people's hands and say hello to everybody and thank everybody for the support. And you might even get Connor to buy you a pint. I mean, stranger things have happened. You won't. You absolutely won't get him to buy you a pint, but you might. But you won't. Did you see the Eddie Bravo clip with Rogan talking and I hope you could house everyone in the world in the state of Texas? I didn't. I'm just finishing off the Sober October podcast. I'm just finished. That was a 4-hour one. I'm just finishing off that one at the minute with Joe Rogan. And I cannot wait to get over to Texas, if I'm being honest. I want to see what the fattest state in America looks like. Because I'm overweight. But when I go to America, I feel like Mr. Universe sometimes when I'm in America. He has a site, anfieldagenda.se. I want to see Craig sombrero Gark and put it top bins. Just look at Hargreaves and Owen. They never really came back from the injuries. That's the truth. It is the truth, man. Sometimes people just can't come back. Guys, look, gonna leave it there for tonight. Have a think about what we said. Have a think about the summer. If anybody's around, if anyone's UK based or even Irish based, and we could come together and have a meet up in the summer somewhere. How cool would that be? We could do an Anfield Agenda a couple of days. We could do a live gig one night together, and we could go and do, I don't know, play foot golf or something mad the next day. It would be brilliant to do that. Brian said, I've relatives in Texas. Give me a shout if you want on the inside info on the local shit. That would be great, Brian. Thank you. I'll take you up on that if that's okay, mate, because we were only talking today about it, particularly with where to stay and stuff like that, because we want to rent another home with a pool and stuff. So yeah, I might take you up on that, Brian, mate, if that's okay. Good night, Craig. I'm in Liverpool. It'll be easy for me. Well, there you go. You've got no excuse then. The Revenite. If we're going, then you've just dug yourself a hole, mate. If we're going, you have to show up. And in Ibiza, said Mr. My days for Ibiza are well and truly over, buddy. Far too old for Ibiza. You got exactly what I meant with that, Craig. It would be so fun. It would be brilliant. It would be a pleasure as well. That's what me and Connor want to do this. We want to do a live show with everybody. We've spoken about it so many times to ourselves. It's just organising it would be a hassle. But if we could do it in the summer, and we could do it where there was a good group of you guys and it wouldn't be too far out of your way. So whether that was Liverpool, whether that was, you know, somewhere where we had a big group, or we had somewhere in the middle where a lot of you guys could meet up, that'd be amazing. Because this is a family, and you want to meet family, you want to meet your extended family. Well, I do at some point, because it's one thing seeing your names on a computer, but it'll be a pleasure to meet everybody and say hello. Right, guys, I'm gonna leave it there for tonight. I'm absolutely cream crackered, and thank you for joining us. Tomorrow night will be the countdown to the weekend, of course. Liverpool 2 days to go then until the game against Fulham. We'll take a look to the other games of the weekend as well, see if we can see any of the big guns dropping points. We'll talk team selection again. We will have had Jurgen Klopp's press conference tomorrow by the time we come on, and we might even have a little look ahead to the Tony Bellew Alexander Usyk fight on Saturday. I don't know if you guys are boxing fans or not, but I'm looking forward to that one. Thank you to everyone that joined us, and don't forget to hit the like button before you head off, guys, and of course hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. Lots of love, and I'll talk to you all soon. Up the motherfucking Reds.